Hey everyone, it's Taylorverse, and welcome back to I Hate Myselfie by Shane Dawson. I have a blow pop. Fair warning. So we are on a chapter of which I do not know the number because they're not numbered. But we are 25% into the book. Why is it fucking paused? Between Hollywood and an abortion clinic. Get up there. Every kid hopes that one day they will be walking around a mall and have a stranger in a business suit walk up to them and say, "Hey, you should be in the movies. I'm a big Hollywood agent. Give me a call after you finish that disgusting cheese-filled pepperoni pretzel dog." But stuff like that only happens on TV, right? Wrong. This is a story of how I was discovered in a shopping mall while stuffing my pimple-covered 18-year-old face full of frozen yogurt. I put frozen yogurt in quotations because, let's keep it real, it's ice cream. It's sugary, topping-covered diabetes and a cardboard bucket ice cream. He's right. It's delicious. Watching obese people go directly from their Weight Watchers meeting to a frozen yogurt shop is like watching all those poor people fall off the sides of the Titanic when it was sinking. If only they knew that cold water would kill them. How that cold water would kill them. So I was walking around my local mall in Long Beach one summer afternoon in 2007. I had graduated from high school a year before that, and I was trying to figure out my next move. I had lost a shit ton of weight and gotten my signature emo haircut. So I had my sights set on being a Disney Channel star. I even put my own catchphrase, "Hey, that's yo mama." Trust me, in the right sitcom with the right storyline, it could have worked. Anyways, I was trying to find some new clothes to match my new look. Young, fresh teenager. So I went into an Urban Outfitters and started searching through all the ironic t-shirts. 10 Chuck Norris references later, I decided that it might not be my store. Holy shit, I forgot that everyone used to reference Chuck Norris. When did that stop? It didn't just, bluntly stop. It kind of faded out. Nonchalantly. As I was leaving, a sad-looking woman in a turtleneck and high-rise pants walked up and grabbed my arm. "Wow, you look familiar." A lot of older women tell me I have the eyes of their ex-husbands. Well, that's mainly just my mom. "Hey, and you're funny too." I wasn't joking, but thanks. "You kind of look like that guy on TV." "The dude you're getting Adele guy." "Yeah, I get that a lot. Not as much anymore since he killed himself." "No, I'm talking about you." I'm a little confused. Is this a hidden camera show? Did you guys see me pick my ass and sniff it when I was over there looking at ironic bumper stickers? 'Cause I wasn't smelling for poop. It's just a weird habit. Probably a childhood thing. Something about loneliness and forcing unpleasantness upon my undeserving self. "No, I'm trying to tell you that you should be on TV." "Are you an actor?" "Yeah, I was in my high school musical." "We're on this together." "Great, what part?" "Fat guy with no song." "Wow, that's specific." "Yeah, I really made it my own." "Well, I'm from a big-time acting academy where we have young actors come audition for us, and if we like them, we get them big Hollywood agents." "Wow, you're like a junk email come to life." "Seriously, it's legit. I have a card and everything." She pulled out a business card for a company called Juan Casablancas. It was laminated and everything. It even had some nice clip art next to her name. This wasn't some homemade shit. This was at least made at Kinko's. I instantly trusted her. Come to the audition tomorrow. I'll tell everyone you're coming, and bring that star quality. As she walked away, I had an inkling of, oh shit, she's going to rape and murder me. But I also had an inkling that, hey, that's Yo Mama, could finally become a reality. So I took my chances and walked into the nearest teeny bopper store and found the most Disney Channel outfit I could. The next day, I pulled up to a shady building somewhere in Orange County. It was 2 hours from Hollywood and also housed a divorce paralegal office and a Planned Parenthood, so I should have known that this wasn't going to be Raven and Lizzie McGuire. Wait, what? Oh, I skipped a page. That this wasn't going to be my ticket to fame. I got out of my car and checked my reflection in the window. Emo hair swoop greased down to my forehead. Check. Unflattering vest with decorative shredded trim. Check. Jeans so skinny you could see the outline of my unimpressive flaccid grower. Check. Endless amounts of sadness and depression in my eyes. Double check. As I entered the elevator that smelled like abortion, I looked around at my fellow desperate wannabe stars, mostly terrified-looking kids with their parents. One girl had told her dad that she felt like she was going to throw up, and her dad told her to swallow it. As I watched a 12-year-old girl vomit in her mouth and swallow it, I started to second-guess whether or not I should be there. The elevator finally opened, and in front of me I saw a big lobby covered in movie posters and pictures of famous people. There was a flat screen showing Beyoncé's world tour, and there were dishes filled with candy everywhere. None of that hard butterscotch shit. We're talking Reese's and Mini Twix. I didn't even know they made Mini Twix. All my apprehensions were gone, and I was ready for this Hollywood life. We were all escorted to the sitting area, which looked like a mini movie theater. There was a stage and a big screen playing clips of That's So Raven and Lizzie McGuire. I started mingling with the others and realized that something was fishy. So, how did you guys get invited to this? A lady told me that I should be on TV. She also said that I was prettier than Hannah Montana. Note: the girl had a lazy eye and some kind of skin disease that made her look slightly reptilian. Really? Wow, that's nice. Yeah, I don't want to be an actor, but my dad said I need to do it because he has a lot of legal bills. Car accident. Killed a guy. His fault. You know how it goes. Totally. Obviously, this wasn't a room full of talented, undiscovered stars. This was a room full of sad, desperate people who were borderline suicidal. I saw a mom eating her own hair. She actually ripped out a strand from her head, rolled it around her finger till it formed a ball, and ate it. A loud feedback sound ran through the speakers and scared the shit out of everyone. It was the sad-looking turtleneck woman I had met at the mall. She was holding on to the microphone, doing her best Ryan Seacrest impression. Ladies and gentlemen, who's ready to find the next superstar? Everyone cheered except Vomit Girl. She had vomit in her mouth. Great. Well, let's get started. Here's how it's going to go. Everyone here is going to come up on stage one by one and read a short commercial off that cue card. After me and the judges see all your auditions, we will decide who is ready for part 2 of the competition. So it started. One by one, we would go up on stage and perform the worst written commercial ever, and then sit back in our seats and wait for our fate to be determined. I was up last. I got on stage and read the cue card like a champion. I don't know about you, but I love food. It's my favorite thing. But who has the time to make it? Not me. That's why I bought the Food Maker. It makes food. Buy one today. I even took an invisible bite of a sandwich and moaned a little. Damn, he's good. After I got off stage, the turtleneck woman went up to the mic and started calling people's names. She called out 10 of the 30 people who were there. My name was one of the lucky 10. The other 20 people left in tears, and I sat awaiting part 2 of this challenge. Shane, let's start with you. Come back to the office with me. I want you to meet someone. I fixed my hair, checked my breath, picked my ass and smelled it, and was on my way. As I walked into one of the many offices down the hallway, I met a small man named Alan. He was flamboyant and loudly dressed. He even had a mug in his left hand that said, "I'm bringing Sassy back." I instantly trusted him. "So you are the Sean I've been hearing about." "Actually, my name is Shane." "I know, I was testing to see if you would correct me. And you did. You failed." "Oh, sorry." "Don't be sorry. Be a welcome mat. Let people walk all over you. Feel the pain of Hollywood, and then, once you've had enough, you can start to walk all over them. Make them bleed and feel sorry for everything they ever did to you." "Are we talking about me still?" "Sorry. Sometimes my passion gets the better of me. I've also had about 8 cups of coffee and 3 muscle relaxers, so I'm all jazzed up. Let's get back to you." "Well, I want to be an actor. Get out of my office, huh? Get the fuck out, now! How dare you come to my place of work and tell me that you want something?" "Is this the muscle relaxers talking, or—" "Don't tell me you want to be an actor. Tell me you are an actor. Don't want, be." "Oh. Wow, you really should get that printed on a mug. I already did. I saw them on Etsy, signed. So you think I can make it, baby, with me on your side? I can make you the next Mitchell Musso. Oh, fuck. I forgot who that was. Oh my god. Whoa. Mitchell Musso was a thing in 2007. I know most of you have no idea who that is, but trust me, he was a thing. All you have to do is sign up for this set of classes, and when we think you're ready, we will set up a meeting for you with a big Hollywood agent. Great, sign me up. That's the spirit. It'll be $3,000, and please make it out to cash. What? Hey, it pays to be famous, and trust me, kid, you got fame in your future. If you were a mug, you would have fame written all over you. I know what you're thinking. It's a scam. Why would anyone pay $3,000 to take classes from a dude who sells mugs on Etsy? Because desperation makes people do crazy things. I went home and told my mom about the entire experience, and even though deep down in her heart she probably knew it was a scam, she wanted to fulfill my dreams so badly that it didn't matter. We were pretty poor at the time, so she had to max out every credit card she could find. I think we even had to get my grandmother to chip in. All I could think about was getting rich and famous and getting my family out of the hellhole we were living in. My parents divorced when I was 9, and they both filed for bankruptcy, so since then it had been a daily struggle to make ends meet. That vomit girl and I weren't so different after all. We just wanted out of our current situations. I wanted to be on TV and be a star, and she wanted her dad not to go to prison for manslaughter. The next week, I went in for my first class. I looked around at my fellow students, and I noticed a lot of them were from the group of 20 who were told to leave after the audition. I asked one of them why they were there, and they said, "Oh, they called me later and said that I was actually in the top 10, but that they didn't want to tell me till later to toughen up my skin." That's the moment I knew all of this bullshit was fraud. The posters on the wall, the Beyonce tour playing on a flat screen, the good candy, it was all a cover-up for some scam where con artists sucker desperate parents into paying thousands of dollars for bullshit classes. And I fell for it. Hard. A tall, model-looking woman walked out in front of the class and introduced herself as the teacher for the day. Her name was Neve? Neve. Yup. And she looked like she'd stepped out of a magazine. I was yet again sucked back into the scam and eating up every word. "Hello, class. I'm going to teach you how to walk like a model today. Who here knows how to walk?" All the students laughed. Although this world would have been super awkward if anyone was in a wheelchair. Good. Stand up and let's see what you got. So the rest of the students, who were all under the age of 12, and I started walking back and forth across the room while Neve judged us like horses. She was yelling things like, "Straighten your back, stop smiling, suck in that ass." I'm not sure how one can suck in that ass, but you better believe I tried my hardest. After we did our walk, she lined us up and started critiquing our looks. She got to me and let me have it. She told me that my teeth were too yellow, my arms were too white, and the thing that really stung? That hair. What is with that hair? You need to cut it all off or you will never get anywhere in Hollywood. From that point on, I knew this woman was no longer to be trusted. Even I, with all my self-hatred, knew that my emo hair was in style and very marketable to the young audience. This chick was a fraud, and it took her making fun of my hair to show me that. After class, I walked back to Alan's office to have a one-on-one with him. A few teachers tried to stop me, but I was like a pregnant lady making my way through Disneyland looking for a turkey leg. People were going to either get the fuck out of my way or be killed. I opened his door and let myself in. "I need to talk to you. You seem angry. Here, have a mini Twix." "No. There's no amount of miniature candies or clever mugs that could change my mood right now. You guys are a fraud." Gasp! Who is this? Because the Juan I know would never say such accusatory things. My name is Shane, and I want my mom's money back. Okay, I see that you're upset. Use it. Let's do a monologue. Have you ever seen the Tom Hanks movie where he finds out he has AIDS? There's a scene where I think you could nail right now. Let me print it out. No monologues. No Mitchell Musso comparisons. I want my money back now. Cynthia, can you shut the door? A tiny hand shut the door, and Alan motioned for me to have a seat. Yes, we are a business. We need people who are willing to pay big bucks to get a ticket to Hollywood. And yes, some of the other children are hopeless, and their parents probably should have visited the business next door years ago, if you know what I'm saying. But there are some of you who are talented, who we really are going to help out. You are one of the lucky few. We are going to get you the best agent we can find, and I promise you, a year from now, you are going to be winning a Teen Choice Award. And we will be in the audience cheering you on. So you're telling me that you know some of the kids out there are hopeless? I'm telling you that some of those kids out there smell like abuse, and it turns me on. He let out a small laugh. I didn't. I got up. You are a horrible, horrible person, and I hope you get all the bad karma that you deserve. Oh, wow, looks like you're the one who's bringing sassy back. I hope you enjoy your life. Wait, okay, I'll give you your money back. I'll even set you up with one of my agent friends. Deal? I took the deal. But I also walked out of the room and told all the other students' parents what a scam the company was. Unfortunately, none of them cared. The slight glimmer of hope that all those movie posters on the walls were giving them was enough to blind them to reality. A year later, I decided to go to their website to see if Alan still worked there, and what I found wasn't shocking at all. The company had gone under because of all the legal fees they weren't able to keep up with due to all of the lawsuits from their former students. I breathed a sigh of relief. Karma does always come back around. And a few years after that, when I won a Teen Choice Awards for a web star, I thought about all the people who had helped me get there, and not one of those people was Alan or anyone from that shitty acting academy next to the abortion clinic. Denny's and Death. That's a lovely, creepy-ass drawing. Ivy. Damn. The smell of Denny's at 3 a.m. reminds me of two things. One, burning hot diarrhea rushing out of my swollen hole, and 2, the death of my grandmother. Oh. The first one is pretty obvious. I mean, they have an entire menu dedicated to the baconizing and cheesifying their food. That just sounds like anal leakage. The second one is because that's where I was the night I waited for my grandmother to die. I know it sounds morbid, but it's the truth. It was a night of me and my brother Jared constantly checking our phones to see if we had a text from our mom saying she's gone. And then some kind of terribly conceived sad face emoticon. Most likely something like, yup, or even something like, yup. What the fuck? I've gotten that emoticon from her before. I have no idea what it stands for, but it can't be good. What the fuck? I was 21 years old, and I had just moved out of my mom's house and gotten an apartment with my older brother, so our phones were usually filled with texts from her every morning. Usually about a dream she'd had in which we both died in a violent death. And she was just checking to see if we were okay. You guessed it. I got my calm, rational personality from my mother. My grandmother was a pretty healthy woman considering she lived on a diet of fat-free cookies and old people candy. So when she was admitted to the hospital, it was a shock to all of us. She complained of her legs hurting, so we figured she had torn a muscle from too much running to the toilet. My bowel issues are genetic. But the doctor said she needed to stay overnight for additional testing. She took it as a mini vacation and wasn't worried at all, and neither were we. Old people go to the hospital all the time. Unfortunately, it was more serious than we thought. The next morning, I had a voicemail on my phone from my mom. She was calling from the hospital, and I could tell it was serious because it didn't start with her singing some kind of Weird Al parody song. Shane, call me when you get this. Grandma's not doing well. I think this is it. I'll never forget that voicemail. It hit me in the gut like a baconized, cheesified quadruple burger. I was numb. I ran into my brother's room without even knocking on his door to make sure he had time to cover his morning erection. He jumped out of bed when I told him the news, and we rushed out of the apartment like it was on fire. My brother and I had a very special bond with my grandma. Most of the happy memories I have from childhood involve her. She had a shitty attitude and hated everything. She watched trashy TV shows and yelled at the screen. She was a night eater and left the bathroom door open while she did her butt business. She was my soulmate. One of my favorite memories was when my brother and I dressed her up as 50 Cent and had her repeat his incredibly racist and demeaning lyrics on camera. I always thought I'd want to show that video at her funeral, but she had a black friend, so when the day finally came, I decided it would have been all kinds of awkward. But back to that awful morning. My brother and I hopped in the car and sped down the freeway like we were in a shitty Nicolas Cage action movie. We almost killed about 8 people, but it would have been worth it. If I didn't say goodbye to Grandma before she passed, I knew I would never be able to forgive myself. I also had so many things I wanted to say to her. I had so many selfies I wanted to take with her. She loved a good selfie. #no filter, of course. We got to the hospital and ran up to her room, faster than we had ever run before. It was like there was a drug dog chasing us, and our asses were packed with coke. I was completely unprepared for what I saw when we finally got to her room. Hi, kitty. She wasn't watching trashy TV and yelling at the screen. She wasn't treating the nurses like waitresses at TGI Fridays. She wasn't doing her butt business with the bathroom door open. She was lying on a stiff, cold bed with a tube down her throat and a machine pumping oxygen into her lungs. She was a shell of the woman I knew. I had no idea who this woman was. The woman I had seen just the night before was fun, loud, slightly prejudiced, but she was gone. I broke down into tears and had to leave the room. I did the only thing I knew to do. Vlog. I went into the bathroom and took out my iPhone and started talking to it. I talked about how scared I was to lose her, how mad I was at God for doing this, how horrible hospital bathrooms smelled. I spilled my guts and it made me feel slightly better. About an hour later, I went back into the room and with the rest of my family was standing by her bedside. We aren't the chattiest of families, so the awkward silence wasn't all that awkward. Nobody knew what to say. What can you say? The doctor walked in and gave us the lowdown. She has a lack of salt that caused her body to shut down. She has a few days left. I'm so sorry. If you're hungry, there are terrible snacks in the cafeteria that are covered in arm hair from the cook. Okay, that last half might not be exactly what he said, but you get the gist. So we waited by her bedside for the next few days. We tried to entertain ourselves by playing I Spy, but the game kind of gets depressing when all you have to spy are urine tubes, poop bags, and a half-dead person. So we mainly just played on our phones. After a few nights, my brother and I decided to eat our emotions, and Denny sounded like the police did. Shut up! Sounded like the place to do it. At 3 a.m., there were plenty of hookers, hobos, and drunken teenagers to keep us company. We ordered pretty much everything on the menu, including something called a spice to meet ya. After eating that disaster, I thought I would for sure die before my grandmother. I don't know why I said grandmother so weird, and why I said grandmother at all, because it said grandma. Beep beep. A text. My brother and I made eye contact. Who's going to look at their phone first? Who wants to get the sad news and tell the other one? Maybe we should just get another spice to meet ya and go into a food coma. Ring ring, a text, and now a phone call? Nobody calls anyone anymore unless someone is literally dead. This couldn't be good. I answered my phone and it was my mom. Grandma's awake. She's sitting up in her bed eating a meatloaf and complaining that the nurses all look like 99-cent store cashiers. She's back. 2 miracles happened that night. The first being my grandma's resurrection, and the second that my ass didn't bleed from the beige food I shoved down my face hole. Oh, that's sad. People usually get like a oh no. A burst of energy right before they die. It's like God's way of letting them say goodbye. That was really sad. We rushed back to the hospital, and there she was, the woman I hadn't seen in 3 days, sitting upright and asking for someone to turn on that show about that midget family. I cried happy tears as I flipped through the channel to find TLC. That night we had so much fun. We laughed, cried, and showed Grandma my countless viral videos of people falling down and getting hurt. It was truly one of the best nights I had ever had with her. And then I was hit with reality. This is sad. Fuck. And it's reminding me of my grandpa dying. Fuck. This is really sad. Can I talk to you for a minute? The doctor said with a look on his face like he had just accidentally aborted my first child. I walked out into the waiting room with him. My brother and Mom were in the bathroom. And he told me something that took every ounce of happiness out of my body and replaced it with the feeling of jagged pieces of broken glass. Your grandmother hasn't taken a turn for the better, I'm afraid. But she's up and miserable. She's her old self again. Shane, sometimes when a person is dying, there is a period of time where they become conscious so they can give their family closure. It's a phenomenon, and we really can't explain it. Wait, so is she already dead? Is that a ghost, a demon, an alien? I'm so fucking confused, and the cheesified milkshake I had is starting to make me hallucinate. No, that's your grandmother. She doesn't know she's dying. She doesn't feel pain. Her brain is blocking all of that. She's enjoying her last night with her family, and when she falls asleep, she'll pass. Great. Now I had to tell my mom and brother that Grandma actually wasn't well. She was just having a supernatural experience, like she was a character in some kind of terrible Kirk Cameron Christian movie. Thanks, Doctor. You really know how to bring down the mood. Good thing you aren't in the children's ward, you dream crusher. So when my mother and brother came back, I told them what was going on. They weren't surprised. My mom had seen somebody die before, and my brother had watched a lot of documentaries about death, so they'd both had a feeling that feeling that was what was happening. So one by one, we went into the room and had a conversation with Grandma and tried to get as much closure as we could. I thanked her for everything she had done for me. She's the reason I started... Shut up! The reason I started acting. She was the reason I had a sliver of confidence in myself. She was the reason I smiled as a kid. When I was scared of my mom and dad's fighting, I would run up to her room upstairs and she would hold me for hours. There wasn't a bruise she didn't kiss or a cut she didn't spray with horribly painful medicine. She meant everything to me, and then some. My brother and mother had some time with her, and then around midnight she fell asleep. We all stood and watched her. The waiting game was happening again. A few hours later, her heart was still beating. She wasn't letting go. I asked the doctor how long he thought she had, and he said it was up to her. If she was holding on to something, it would take a while. I knew what I had to do. I asked my brother and mother for a moment alone with her. I sat by her side, and I held her hand. Oh God, this is gonna make me cry. 'Cause that's exactly what happened with my grandpa. Oh shit. I whispered to her, Grandma, are you there? She replied in a soft, almost inaudible whisper. Shani? Do you know that you were dying? Yes. Are you scared? Yes. Is it because you don't want to go to hell? Silence. Then a tear fell from her closed eye. My grandma wasn't always the most pleasant woman to be around throughout her life, and I'm sure she felt a lot of guilt about that. You might have been kind of a bitch to a lot of people in your life, but to me you were my rock. Oh no! You protected me, you made me feel special, and never judged me. God is so proud of you, and you have nothing to be afraid of. She gave me a small smile. Her eyes were still closed. There wasn't much left in her, but there was enough to hear me. Oh, shit. Is there anything else you're afraid of? She squeezed my hand as hard as she could, which was still gentler than a toddler. Are you scared to leave me and Jared? You need me. I burst into tears. She was right. I needed her so badly. I was beginning to become successful on YouTube, and I was nervous about what my life was going to turn into. My brother was just getting his life together and needed her pep talks. But we needed to let her go. Grandma, I love you so much. But I want you to let go and not worry about us. We'll be fine. And you can watch over us every day and make sure that we are on the right track. Oh. What the hell, Cat? Another tear from her beautiful, peacefully closed eye. It's going to be so much better up there. You're gonna fly and shit. That's insane. I've always wanted to fly. You can come hang out with me in my dreams and do all the cool angel stuff that we learned about from the terrible Touched by an Angel show that we used to watch together. She smiled. God, that show was terrible. Thank you, Shani. I love you. I love you so much. I kissed her hand and she ran her fingers through my hair. After a few peaceful minutes, I went into the waiting room and told my brother to go in and talk to her. They had a private conversation. I'm sure it was similar to ours and just as special. We felt at peace with the situation, so we went home to get some sleep. My mother wanted to stay the night and be by her side.
The next morning we got a phone call from my mom, saying that she'd passed that morning. She even opened her eyes and said, "I'll always be there for you guys," before she left. I feel bad that I wasn't there for her last breath, but I also feel like the moment we had shared the night before was so special that nothing could top that. And to this day, I will never forget the feeling of her hand squeezing mine. And every time I go into Denny's at 3 a.m., which is frequently, I know she's there sitting in the booth next to me, dreading the diarrhea that's bound to come. I love you, Grandma. Always. Oh my god. I was not expecting something like that. I was expecting, like, how he is self-conscious, and that would be the saddest it would get, is like him being bullied. But no, that was really sad, and it reminded me of my grandpa, and that made it worse. And oh my god, whew, that would hurt. Oh, if y'all cried at home, at least we cried together. Fuck. Alright. We'll read more tomorrow, 'cause I was gonna do 3 chapters in this video, but I'm fucking done. I'm done. I'll see you guys next video. Bye.